Part 6. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 51. Next, the person whose name I called came in for the test. Today's test is about the art of clone. Ninja school, on the playground. The 6th grade graduates were waiting for the graduation exam to begin. At this time, Irika came over with a list and announced to the 6th grade students present the results of today's exam. Content. When they heard that the content of the exam was the art of clones, some students who had not yet fully learned the art of clones showed expressions of despair. No. I can only create one clone now, will it fail? It's terrible. It's terrible. I feel like I might have to repeat a grade. Oops. I haven't learned the art of cloning yet. As for the 6th grade Class A, everyone is smiling. Being able to enter Class A is itself a symbol of talent. Even the civilian students in Class A have much better talent than those in Class B and Class C. Therefore, there is no one in Class A who has not learned the clone technique by the 6th grade. After all, it is only an E-level 3 body technique. The difficulty is extremely low. If it takes 6 years to learn even the E-level 3 body technique, then it is enough to show that you do not have the talent to become a ninja. In this case, it is better to give up as soon as possible and learn another craft. Being an ordinary person is more suitable for you. Of course, there are exceptions. For example, Naruto. In the past you can't learn the clone technique. But Naruto is a special case. It's not that he doesn't have this talent, but there are too many additional interference factors. But now Naruto is no longer the Naruto who only knew pranks more than 2 years ago. More than 2 years ago, over time, many people and things have changed. Naturally, including Naruto. Today's Naruto is strong and strong, standing more than half a head taller than other children of the same age around him. He is no longer the short winter melon of the past, nor not a skinny guy. I don't know when, Naruto changed out of his iconic clothes of the past few years and started to fall in love with close-fitting training clothes. I heard that Naruto hung out with Metkai and the others 2 years ago, practicing taijutsu together. However, fortunately, Naruto's aesthetics has not completely deviated from the category of normal people. At least he did not change into the same green jumpsuit as Metkai and Xiao Li, otherwise he would be. That's too bad. At this time, Naruto, standing in the crowd, had a confident smile on his face. When teacher Irika announced that the test was about the clone surgery, he didn't show any pain, but was very confident. It's just a clone technique, it's too simple, Naruto said with a smile. The classmates next to him couldn't help but look at him with a little weird look. After all, if it were more than 2 years ago, Naruto would have been complaining incessantly. But in the past 2 years, the changes in Naruto are also obvious to all. In the usual battle practice at school, Naruto even got a good ranking of 2nd place. Yes. Sasuke has lost to Naruto several times. For this reason, Sasuke has also become better and better through training. He works hard. His strength is much stronger than that of Konoha 60 in the original book. Except that he has not learned Chidori now, he is basically as strong as he was during the Chunin exam. The Sharingan was also released last year. It was opened when he was defeated by Naruto for the first time. In fact, Sasuke's Sharingan had been successfully opened a few years ago, that is, the night of the genocide. But even Sasuke himself did not know about this. He never realized that he had actually opened his eyes. It wasn't until he was defeated by Naruto, who had always looked down on him, that Sasuke seemed to be stimulated by something and directly opened the single Megatama Sharingan. After opening his eyes, Sasuke's strength was indeed improved compared to what he had seen before. Quite a bit. Naruto lost to him in several subsequent battle exercises. But 3 months later, Sasuke lost to Naruto again because Naruto learned a very good physical move from Metkai. he defeated Sasuke in an unexpected way with his magical moves. After that, the two guys started a year-long competition. Sometimes you win, sometimes I win. In general, Sasuke wins more often. After all, there is a big difference between Uchiha with eyes open and those without eyes. Even though it is just a single Megatama. And this kind of competition seems to have promoted the relationship between the two to heat up in advance. Now, the one with the best relationship with Naruto in the class is Ryosuke Yagamai, and the one next in line is Sasuke. In fact, if Ryosuke Yagamai was not Naruto's first official good friend, he would have to be ranked below Sasuke. After all, Azura and Indra's bonds are no joke. Ichiro Sato. Qualified. Coriander for a long time. Qualified. Kazuma Kuzadeko. Qualified. Students were called in one by one for the exam. In Class A, basically everyone who went in came out with a smile. But other classes were not so lucky. Basically 1 out of 3 was not passed. You can only repeat the grade, or leave the ninja school altogether and give up on becoming a ninja. Ryosuke Yagamai, Ino, and Hinata stood under a big tree to enjoy the shade, while waiting for their names to be called. Looking at the students over there who failed to get their forehead protectors, Yagamai Ryosuke didn't have any sympathy in his eyes. He couldn't even practice the 3-body technique in 6 years. Letting them become ninjas will only harm them. Yamanaka Ino. At this time, Ino's name was also called. I'm in. Ino said to the two of them, and then ran into the classroom with a smile. After a while, Ino came out with a forehead protector. She giggled and came over and asked Ryosuke Yagamai to help her tie the forehead protector on. Yagamai Ryosuke also smiled and said congratulations, and then helped Ino tie the forehead protector on her waist. Ino's waist is very thin. It's the kind of water snake waist that is full to the touch. But the upper body is already it's the first time it has grown in size. Although it can't be compared to Hinata, it's no longer a small dumpling. Nara Shikamaru. Brush. A figure jumped down from the tree. Coming. Shikamaru responded weakly, and then slowly walked over there. For more than 2 years, Shikamaru is still the same. He still looks like he has no energy for anything. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 52. After a while, Shikamaru came out of the classroom. Already wearing a forehead protector. Congratulations. Ryosuke. Yagamai said with a smile. Ryosuke, don't make fun of me, it's just a test of the clone technique. Shikamaru held the forehead protector on his arm and said lazily. What you said is wrong. I didn't see that there are still many people who failed the exam, so I still want to congratulate them. Ryosuke Yagamai said with a smile. Shikamaru was speechless. How can it be the same? After a while, Hinata's name was also called, and she went in to complete the graduation exam and successfully got her own forehead protector. Ryosuke. Hinata came over with a forehead protector, smiled and handed it to Ryosuke Yagamai, asking him to help tie it on. Shikamaru glanced at the side and couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. Ryosuke is really capable, he actually managed to take down Ino and Hinata at the same time. This is also what Shikamaru admires most about Yagamai Ryosuke. Practicing hard on his own and counter-attacking from the second to last to become the top student in the class does not count. The key point is that he still has the energy to get the 2 girls and make them follow him willingly. If his father was half as capable as Ryosuke Yagamai, he wouldn't be scolded by his mother every time he plays chess. Shikamaru felt sad when he thought about this. Because he feels that he is similar to his father, and there is a high probability that he will also be a strict wife in the future. Otherwise, why don't we take more lessons from Liangja? Shikamaru couldn't help but have such an idea in his mind. But after thinking about it, Shikamaru thought it was better to forget it. Mainly because he thought that there was a high probability that he would not be able to learn it. In the future, it is better to find a wife with a gentle personality, at least she will not be scolded. Shikamaru thought. Suzuki Uchiha. Suzuki, who was surrounded by 2 or 3 girls, heard this and walked towards the classroom. As he walked, he glanced at Naruto, who was doing push-ups not far away. This guy should be fine, right? Suzuki is inevitably a little worried. After all, he has never seen Naruto use the clone technique in the past 2 years, and their battles are basically physical duels. Ninjutsu is rarely used. And Naruto has not shown himself. In terms of ninjutsu talent, he is only very good at physical skills, which makes people mistakenly think that he is a ninjutsu type ninja. But in fact, Naruto has already learned the signature ninjutsu of Rasengan. And he still learns it alive. Make use of it. He developed moves such as the Big Jade Rasengan and the Mini Rasengan. Now Naruto's strength is actually stronger than during the Chunin examination. After all, during the Chunin examination, although he had Jiraiya guidance, but the training time is only 1 month after all, which is too short. But it is different now. Naruto has been practicing for more than 2 years. His control over the chakra in his body has also improved too much. He no longer has it. It's Zenjin's Wusyaemon. Now, if he can use ninjutsu like Rasengan, Naruto can defeat Sasuke in minutes. Ordinary Chunin is not his opponent at all. However, Naruto is still he didn't get another of his signature ninjutsu, the art of multiple shadow clones. It's just an ordinary shadow clone, which is a bit unworthy of his huge chakra. After all, that's a full 120 calories of chakra. Yes. The total amount of chakra in Naruto's body now is more than the 100 calories in the original work. Because of long-term physical exercise, he has well developed the advantages of the Uzumaki-sen's human body, plus he actively controls the absorption and escape of chakra. The nine-tailed chakra makes Naruto's chakra 20% more than the original historical trajectory. Moreover, this extra 20 cards of chakra can be completely controlled by Naruto himself. It is not like being used the 96 cards of chakra used to suppress the gap in the nine-tail seal were something he could not mobilize at ordinary times. However, Naruto had already seen Ninetales in the sewer more than a year ago. It had been more than a year since they had known each other officially. Now, Naruto occasionally takes the initiative to go into the sewers to see Kuwabai and chat with him. Therefore, if he opens his mouth, Kuwabai will still take the initiative to restrain his chakra, allowing him to smoothly use the remaining 96 kaka carats. After a while, Sasuke also came out of the classroom wearing a forehead protector. He walked up to Naruto and looked at him. "Hello. You guy, don't suddenly lose your temper," Sasuke said a little arrogantly. "Don't forget that I will have graduated and become a genin by then, and you will still be in ninja school." Brush. Naruto stretched out his arms and stood up directly. He looked at Sasuke with a smile and said, "Sasuke, do you care about me?" "Cut. I just don't want to lose a good opponent." Sasuke turned his head with an arrogant look on his face, refusing to admit that he was caring about Naruto. "Don't worry, it's just a matter of division. How can it be so difficult for me, Uzumaki Naruto?" Naruto laughed and hugged Sasuke's shoulders. "Be more careful, you're sweating." Sasuke pushed him angrily, but the strong Naruto couldn't push him away at all. He had no choice but to let him hug him. Over there, Ryusuke Yagamai under the tree looked at the two of them with a smile. The interaction between them also showed a happy and smile on their faces. "Ryusuke, you smile so strangely." Ino couldn't help but said. She looked over there and asked, "Is there anything strange about Sasuke and Naruto?" "No, I just think the relationship between the two of them is really good," Ryusuke Yagamai said with a smile. Ino and Hinata didn't understand the meaning of his words. They thought it was just a good relationship in words. But Shikamaru on the side suddenly looked at Naruto with strange eyes. And Sasuke, and then shivered inexplicably. Isn't it? Ryusuke was just joking, right? Shikamaru thought. If this is true, it would be too much. Uzumaki Naruto. At this time, Iruka's voice also came from the classroom over there. It's my turn. Naruto let go of his hand, smiled at Sasuke, then turned around and gave a thumbs up to Ryusuke Yagamai under the tree over there, showing 2 rows of white teeth. Ryusuke Yagamai. Have you even learned this trick? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 53. I recommended Naruto to train with Metkai, was that the wrong recommendation? At this moment, Yagamai Ryusuke couldn't help but feel a little self-doubt. He knew that Naruto actually learned things quite quickly. But you can't just follow everything. There is no need to learn this move. Ryusuke Yagamai felt a little regretful. However, it seems it is too late to regret now. Naruto seems to have grown a little crooked. Fortunately, it's not completely crooked yet. In the classroom, Naruto walked in confidently. Naruto, let's start, use the clone technique. Iruka sat in the examiner's seat and said to Naruto who came in. Looking at the tall and big Naruto in front of him, Iruka also showed a happy expression on his face. 2 years ago, this kid was a prickly person who only knew how to play pranks all day long, which caused him a lot of trouble and greatly increased his workload. As a result, he didn't even have time to find a girlfriend. 2 years later, Zenjin, the king of pranks, has become a prankster. He has become an obedient and sensible good student in Iruka's eyes. He no longer causes trouble for him. Recently, he even has time to go on blind dates. He has met many beautiful girls. By the way, tonight I am going with Zaya. Why should we eat? Or go watch a movie with Milko? Iruka couldn't help but start to get entangled. At this time, Naruto had already made seals with his hands and used the clone technique. Bang! A piece of white smoke dispersed, revealing 3 clones stood around Naruto. 3 clones, not bad. Iruka came back to his senses, smiled and nodded. Then he stamped a past stamp in the results column behind Naruto's name. Naruto, this is your forehead protector, take good care of it and don't lose it. Iruka smiled and picked up a forehead protector and handed it to Naruto. Okay, Iruka-sensei. Naruto happily took the forehead protector and put it on his forehead with excitement. Iruka-sensei, do I look good like this? He asked Iruka in a show-off manner. Well, it's very good looking and handsome. Iruka said with a smile. But Mizuki beside him could hardly hold himself any longer. He felt very unhappy when he saw the demon fox boy in front of him. Moreover, this kid was talking about teacher Iruka, so he didn't take Mizuki seriously. Where? Okay, Naruto. After the exam, go out quickly, there are others who have exams behind you. Mizuki held back the anger in his heart and reminded with a smile. Okay, Iruka-sensei, I'm leaving first. Naruto said hello to Iruka and turned around to leave, completely ignoring Mizuki. This made Mizuki's 2 hands under the table clenched into fists. Damn you little demon fox. Of course Naruto is not that rude. But because he has known Kuwabai for more than a year, he occasionally chats with Kuwabai, so through Kuwabai he knows that this Mizuki teacher has deep malice towards him. That's why he doesn't want to talk to this guy. You are clearly scolding me in your heart, don't think that I don't know it by pretending to be smiling. Out. Sasuke has been staring at the door since Naruto entered. It wasn't until he saw Naruto coming out wearing a forehead protector that Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief. This guy turns out to be able to clone himself. I have been worrying for so long in vain. Sasuke thought angrily. But he still went up to congratulate Naruto. Sasuke, do you think I look handsome wearing this? Naruto chuckled and asked, grabbing the forehead protector on his forehead. Like a huge idiot. Sasuke curled his lips and said. Cut. Sasuke, you're being dishonest again. Naruto laughed and hugged Sasuke's neck. Then he ran to Yagami Ryusuke to share his joy at this moment. Congratulations, Naruto. You can finally become a ninja, so you have to work hard next. Ryusuke Yagami patted Naruto on the shoulder and encouraged him. Well, don't worry Ryusuke, I'm practicing with teacher Akai now, and I'm working hard every day. Naruto said with a heavy nod. Ryusuke Yagami. It's better if you don't mention Meti. When it comes to Metaka, I feel a little guilty again. Fortunately, Ryusuke Yagami's name was also called out in the classroom at this time. It's my turn, I'll go over first. Ryusuke Yagami said to the friends around him, and then walked into the classroom in front of him. Ryusuke, use the clone technique. If it's you, there will be no problem. Iruka looked at Ryusuke Yagami who walked in, with a happy smile on his face as well. Ryusuke Yagami and Naruto are definitely the two students he has taught who gave him the most sense of accomplishment. Because both of them came up from the bottom of the crane. Especially Ryusuke. He went directly from the second to last in 10,000 years to the current chief student. This made Iruka think that his teaching ability has been recognized, and he must otherwise, how could the students practice so hard and improve themselves? It must be their sincere teachings that have had an effect. Iruka-sensei, let me get started. Ryusuke Yagami said. He also ignored Mizuki. This made Mizuki even more angry. One or two of them only have Iruka in their eyes, right? Just wait, I will let you know my Mizuki sooner or later. Awesome. Mizuki thought viciously in his heart. If eyes could kill Yagami Ryusuke, I'm afraid Yagami Ryusuke would have died countless times by now. Bang. Yagami Ryusuke made a simple seal and instantly released. To be honest, he didn't practice the clone technique very much. As for the substitute technique, he practiced it for a while. After all, this thing is quite practical. Although it is not the legendary teleportation, it can be used in battle. It plays a big role. But Yagami Ryusuke has never used the clone technique very much. But his chakra control is too strong. He can use it very well without much practice. Shiro the smoke dissipated, and 5 clones stood around Ryusuke Yagami. Ryusuke Yagami had restrained himself. Otherwise, he could have dozens of clones at will. Of course, this was not intentional. Show off skills and so on. What skills can an ordinary clone have to show off? It's just that the bonus to the power of his ninjutsu is too high. It just directly increases the effect of the clone technique. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 54. Pass. Iruka smiled and gave Ryusuke Yagami a stamp of approval. Then he handed him a forehead protector. We must continue to work hard in the future. Iruka said. Okay, Iruka-sensei, I'll go out first. Ryusuke Yagami nodded, then turned around and left the classroom with his forehead protector in hand. Out. Out. Seeing Ryusuke Yagami coming out of the classroom, Ino and Hinata hurriedly rushed to greet him. As for being so excited, this kind of exam is not difficult for Ryusuke at all. Naruto on the side said a little bit amused. There is no way, although his strength has improved now and he no longer does pranks, he still seems to be unpopular in the girl circle. Of course. It may also be because he licks Haruno Sakura too much, so that the other girls in the class thought that Naruto already had a crush on him, so they didn't consider him at all. Next, Harano Sakura. At this time, Sakura's name was also shouted in the classroom. "Come on, Sakura." Naruto immediately shouted, "Come on." Sakura in front stumbled and almost fell. She turned around and glared at Naruto fiercely, and then walked angrily into the classroom. "Sakura, please don't fail to graduate." At this time, Ino smiled and showed the forehead protector tied around his waist, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I will definitely graduate." Sakura said angrily, then opened the door and walked into the classroom. "Sakura should be fine," Hinata said on the side. "Hinata, I'm not worried about Sakura," Ino said forcefully. Hinata just smiled, as if she had seen through everything. "Ryusuke, let me tie it up for you." Ino, who felt a little guilty when Hinata saw him, quickly took the forehead protector from Ryusuke Yagamai's hand and helped him put it on. "All right." Ino took back her hand and looked at him with a smile. "What's wrong?" Ryusuke Yagamai asked her. "No, I just think you are getting more and more handsome, Ryusuke," Ino said with a smile, and reached out to hug his arm. Ryusuke Yagamai smiled when he heard the words. He himself didn't feel this way. Mainly because he could see himself in the mirror every day, maybe some subtle changes, he didn't feel much himself. The graduation exam lasted for one morning and was basically over. Those who successfully passed the exam and received forehead protection were naturally happy. While sharing the joy with their families, they looked at those who failed to pass the exam with gloating. The unlucky guy. In front of the ninja school, Ryusuke Yagamai took Ino and Hinata over to say hello to his mother Mitsuki Yagamai. "Mom, this is Hinata, this is Ino, the one you've seen before." Ryusuke Yagamai pulled the two embarrassed people next to him and introduced him. Even Ino, who was usually carefree, became a little shy at this time. "Hello aunt, my name is Yamanaka Ino." "Hello aunt, I am Hinata, yes, Ryusuke's friend." Hinata is embarrassed to say that she is Yagamai Ryusuke's girlfriend. After all, this is her future mother-in-law. Hinata is very nervous now. She is afraid that Yagamai Ryusuke's mother will not like her. But Hinata is it's just too much worry. At this moment, Yagamai Mitsuki looked at the two little girlfriends that her son had brought, and she couldn't be happier. Her son was so promising. He knew that he brought his girlfriend to see him just after graduation, and the area was still too. However, when hearing the last names of Hinata and Ino, Yagamai Mitsuki felt a little worried. After all, both Hinata and Yamanaka are big families in the village. And the Yagamai family is not a ninja family. Pure. He is just a commoner. I wonder if his son can be recognized by the elders of these two big families. Although Yagamai Mitsuki knows that her son has done very well in school in the past 2 years and is already the top student in the class. But the world of ninja is not as simple as a ninja school. As a medical Chuunin, Yagamai Mitsuki is well aware of the cruelty of the ninja world. I was also worried that my son would be harmed. Ryusuke Yagamai brought Hinata and Ino over to say hello to his mother Mizuki Yagamai, and then told his mother that he was going out to have dinner with his classmates at noon. Party? Well, now that you have graduated, there won't be as many opportunities to meet again in the future as before. Mizuki Yagamai is also here. Genin will be assigned to Genin teams after graduation. In the future, if these people want to meet, it will not be as simple as in the past. After all, ninjas all have to go out on missions. But for Genin, they usually do some D-level tasks. For example, helping to weed weeds, taking care of children, looking for pets, etc. Although it is tedious and boring, at least it is not dangerous. It is mainly to let the Genin get used to ninjas. Life. It is a transitional stage. After saying hello to his mother, Ryosuke Yagamai also followed Ino and Hinata to meet their parents. On Ino's side, her mother Reino Yamanaka came today. She is a lady who looks very dignified and generous. Seeing her daughter coming with a handsome little boy, Yamanaka Reino also looked at Yagamai Ryosuke with a smile. "Mom, we are going out for dinner at noon, and I won't go home to eat." Ino came up and said directly. "By the way, this is Ryosuke, Mom, you have seen it before." Ino held Ryosuke's hand and said. Yagamai Ryosuke went to the flower shop of Yamanaka's family to buy flowers before, so he also met Ino's mother several times. "Hello aunt, I am Ino's classmate, Ryosuke Yagamai." Ryosuke Yagamai greeted politely. This is his future mother-in-law. "You must be polite." "Hello Ryosuke, our Ino usually has a bad temper. Isn't it troublesome for you?" Yamanaka Rino is also here. She and Ino's father Yamanaka Hiki also met when they were in school. The two of them were childhood sweethearts at the time, just like Yagamai Ryosuke and Ino today. So Yamanaka Rino naturally understands the two. People say this because of their relationship. "Mother." Ino pulled her mother's arm with an embarrassed look on her face. "No aunt, Ino has a very good personality, I should have troubled her more to take care of her," Ryosuke Yagamai said with a smile. Ino did not show any bad temper in front of him, but that was not the case in front of other people. Especially Shikamaru and Koji. They looked like Ino's younger brothers. They are often called around. But Ryosuke Yagamai also knows that it is because the three of them have a good relationship and are friends who grew up together, plus the personality relationship between the three of them. It is not that Ino has a bad temper. Poor. It's not that Shikamaru and Koji are particularly easy to handle. The main thing is to divide people. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 55. Ino's mother has very good senses about Ryosuke Yagamai. I think Ryosuke Yagamai is a good, obedient, sensible boy, and good-looking. She obviously knew very well that her daughter was a good-looking girl, and with Ryosuke Yagamai being the top student of this class, she would at least become an official jounin in the future. It's not like he's not worthy of their Ino. Therefore it is relatively recognized. However, her husband Yamanaka Hiki might not be so easy to talk to. Fortunately, the person who came today was not Ino's father. Otherwise, Yagamai Ryosuke doubted that he would be on the blacklist of his future father-in-law. After all, he had deceived his old father-in-law into taking away his little cotton-padded jacket. Isn't it possible that Yamanaka Hiki even wanted to beat him to death? As for Ino's parents, it's actually easier to solve. The most troublesome thing is the Hinata family. When Ryosuke Yagamai and Hinata met her father Hinata, the latter's face was not good looking. On the one hand, there is dissatisfaction with the eldest daughter. On the other hand, he is also dissatisfied with Ryosuke Yagamai. A mere ninja born from a civilian background. At once, so what if he is the chief student? The ninja school has a chief student every year, is it possible that all of them are promising? Fortunately, Ryosuke Yagamai, the chief student, has quite a high profile because he has Uchiha Sasuke as the backdrop. At least Hinata Hizu didn't get angry on the spot and say any unpleasant words. At best, you just ignore him. Go home early and don't play out too late. After Hinata casually warned him, he turned around and left with the two ninjas from the Hyuga family. He didn't say a word to Yagamai Ryosuke during the whole process. He seemed very indifferent. Sorry, Ryosuke. When her father left, Hinata also said to Yagamai Ryosuke with an apologetic look on her face. My father may be in a bad mood, and he doesn't mean it against you. It's okay, I didn't take it to heart. Yagamai Ryosuke took Hinata's little hand and said with a smile. Regarding Hinata Hinashi's attitude, Yagamai Ryosuke really didn't take it to heart. It's not because of how generous he is. It's because Yagami Ryosuke is very deep in his heart. Clearly, no matter what Hinata's attitude is towards him, it won't change anything. Whether Hinata agrees or disagrees with him being with Hinata. Is it possible that Yagami Ryosuke will really listen to him? As for that, the influence of the Hyuga clan? Sorry. It's not that Yagami Ryosuke looks down on the Hyuga clan, but there's really nothing about the Hyuga clan that he can look up to. Not to mention the deep-rooted bad habit of dividing families. Just speaking of strength. Even the Hyuga clan, which can't even get a single cage level, have what qualifications do Yagami Ryosuke have to look up to them? Yagami Ryosuke was already a cage level when he was 11 years old. And now, he can hang him with just one hand. Fight ordinary cage level. The Hinata clan does not even have a cage level ninja. Even if the whole clan comes together, it is not enough for Yagami Ryosuke to fight with one hand. Just like this, what does Yagami Ryosuke have to worry about? Hinata if Hizu is smart, Ryosuke Yagami will recognize him as his father-in-law. If he is not smart, the worst thing he can do is think that Hinata has no such father. Anyway, Hinata is not happy in the Hyuga clan. She will be with Ryosuke Yagami in the future. What will happen if he doesn't return to the Hyuga clan? Could it be that Hinata dare to call someone to kidnap Hinata? Yagami Ryosuke asked him to use both hands, but he didn't have the ability. Of course. Yagami is responsible for this matter. Ryosuke also needs to take care of Hinata's emotions, so unless the Hyuga clan commits suicide, Yagami Ryosuke doesn't bother to be familiar with them. As a big family, in the eyes of the real strong, they don't even count. When have you ever seen Uchiha Madara take the so-called ninja clan seriously? Aban only has big pillars in his eyes. The venue for the lunch gathering was the barbecue restaurant owned by the Akimichi clan. As for money, everyone is and they won't cheat Koji on purpose. Although Dinkai doesn't care about the money. There were many more people coming to the dinner this time than the last time Yagami Ryosuke and the others had a picnic. 9 of the 12 young players in the future wood industry have come. Except Hyuga Niji and the others from Kaiban, everyone else came. Unexpectedly, all of our class graduated successfully. When I saw those in Class B and Class C who failed the exam, I was worried that someone in Class A would also fail, but I didn't expect that there would be none in the end. Inyazuka Kiba took a sip of juice, and suddenly smiled and said to Naruto beside him, "Naruto, you are deliberately holding back, right? I've never seen the clone technique used before. I thought you hadn't learned it yet." Cut. I don't use it sparingly when it comes to differentiating one's body. Naruto had a proud expression on his face. He was in a good mood today. If Sakura next to him could look at him a few more times, he might be in a better mood. What a pity. Sakura's attention was on the other side. Sasuke didn't look at Naruto at all. This made Naruto feel a little unhappy with Sasuke. We will officially be genin from now on, haha. I, Kiba Inyazuka, am also a ninja. Inyazuka Kiba smiled happily and couldn't help but reached out and touched his forehead protector again. Yeah, it's too early for you to be happy. Yakami Ryosuke glanced at Inyazuka Kiba, smiled and poured cold water on him. Ah! What's the meaning? Inyazuka Kiba looked over with a puzzled expression. The same goes for everyone else. Ryosuke, are you saying that we are not officially genin yet? Shikamaru thought for a while, and remembered that his father had vaguely mentioned it before, that there seemed to be some kind of test after graduation. But Narashikaku obviously didn't elaborate on it, he just mentioned it briefly. Shikamaru has a good memory, so he remembered it. In fact, the situation in other people's families is similar. Of course, their parents know that graduating from the ninja school does not officially become a genin. They still have to pass the Jonin assessment and lead a team of Jonin. Only when you say you can do it can you truly become an official genin. Otherwise, you have to go back and study for another year. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 56. Hearing Shikamaru's words, everyone else looked at Ryosuke Yagamai. Wait for him to verify. You should all know that after we graduate from the ninja school, we will be assigned to a jounin to form a team, right? Ryosuke Yagamai said calmly. I know this. The newly graduated genin will be divided into groups of 3 to form a genin team. The team will be led by a jounin who will be our future instructor. Naruto said quickly. He heard this from Xiao Li. Others more or less know something about this. Only Sakura and Sasuke don't know much about it. One of them was born as a commoner. The same family. He was the only one left, and no one told him this common sense. Did you know that the leading Jonin will conduct a test on the genin team under his command that day? Ryosuke Yagamai said. If we fail the test, we will be sent back to study for another year. Ah! Please do not. When the others heard the news, they immediately showed expressions of pain. Especially Inyazuka Kiba, who looked happy just now. Now he put on a mask of pain. No, I don't want to go back to school. Inyazuka Kiba shouted, I will definitely pass the test of leading a Jonin, and I will definitely not be sent back to repeat the test. It depends on what kind of jounin you are assigned to. Ryosuke Yagamai glanced at him with a smile and said, if you are assigned to some jounin who are easy to talk to, then the test is basically just a formality. But I heard that there is an elite jounin named Hatake Kakashi, who is very strict with his students. He has already eliminated several genin teams. He is said to be the leading jounin with 0 pass rate in the test. When he said this, Yagamai Ryosuke glanced at Naruto and Sasuke. After all, Kakashi will soon be their leader. This time, with Yagamai Ryosuke's advance foreshadowing, when they found out that their leader was Kakashi, their faces changed with fear. It's interesting to think about it. That's right. Ryosuke Yagamai was actually deliberately trying to scare them. Speaking of other people, there is still the possibility of being sent back to repeat the exam, but none of the people here have been sent back to repeat the exam. On the one hand, their abilities have reached the standard of official genin, and there is no lack of ability. On the other hand, their ability has reached the standard of official genin. Is also their background. Not to mention Haruno Sakura, a civilian ninja, but she was assigned to the 7th team and was destined not to be eliminated. Among the others, which one does not have a big family background in Konoha? Nara, Yamanaka, Hinata, Inutsuka, Abarame, Akimichi, and even the exterminated Uchiha. Which one is not from the Konoha clan? As for Naruto, that is the prince. Have you ever heard that the prince was eliminated to repeat his studies? So, Ryosuke Yagamai is saying this now, it's just his bad taste. Just teasing them. However, if they are other civilians, they may be sent back to repeat their studies. And some simply give up being ninjas. So Ryosuke Yagamai doesn't either. It's totally a bluff, it's true. It's just about scoring points. Blessings from the 6 Paths Immortal. You must arrange a good-tempered jounin for me to lead the team. As soon as Yagamai Ryosuke finished speaking, Inyazuka Kiba was already muttering in a low voice. Upon hearing this, Abarame Shino, who was sitting next to him, also rolled her eyes under her sunglasses. The Sage of 6 Paths should have nothing to do. Ah, why would I bless you for such a boring thing? The next day, all the prospective genin who passed the graduation exam yesterday came to the ninja school to prepare for placement. Ryosuke Yagamai also came to the classroom early and sat waiting for the class division to begin. He was also quite curious, Which class would he be placed in? Originally, Ju Zioqiang's 3 classes seemed to have been specially arranged. If there were no accidents, he would most likely not be able to get in. In this case, they can only be placed in the same class with some other supporting characters, and there is a high probability that no real capable instructor Jonin will be arranged to lead the team. If that's the case, Yagami Ryusuke plans to directly create a shadow clone and let the shadow clone follow the team to perform those D-level missions. And just continue to practice. Waited in the classroom for a few minutes. Everyone was noisily discussing who they would be in the same group with later. At this moment, Irika also walked in with the roster. "Okay, everyone, be quiet," Irika shouted. "First of all, congratulations to everyone for your successful graduation. Next, I will announce the subsequent class divisions. There will be 3 students in each half, and we will start from the first class." Irika picked up the roster and read first class: Sato Ichiro, Kanako Nako, Kazuma Kazadeko. The 3 people whose names were called also looked at each other and giggled at each other. Second shift. The third shift. Irika kept reading one name after another. But there is no name Ryusuke Yagami in it. Team 7, Harano Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Suzuki. Yeah. In the same class as Sakura. Naruto heard that his name was in the same class as Sakura, and he jumped up happily. "Great, I'm in the same class as Suzuki." And Harano Sakura looked at the cool Uchiha Suzuki over there with heart-wrenching eyes. She completely ignored Naruto, who was trying hard to attract her attention. Irika smiled and asked Naruto to calm down, and then continued read the last name. Class 8, Kiba Inyazuka, Shino Abarame, Hinata. Class 9. Class 10, Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Koji. Okay, this is how everyone is divided into classes. Do you remember who your teammates are? Irika put down the roster after reading, looked at the faces in the classroom and said with a smile. At this time, Ino suddenly raised his hand and asked Irika-sensei, "Why didn't you read just now?" To Ryusuke's name. Others also looked at Irika in confusion. Ryusuke Yagami is the chief student of their class A, so there is no way he will fail to graduate, right? Yagami Ryusuke has special arrangements, and he will follow me to meet the Hokage later. Irika explained. Oh my god. I want to see Lord Hokage. Amazing. Worthy of being the chief student. So, will Yagami Ryusuke work with the Hokage in the future? It's hard to say. It's possible that there are other team arrangements. In the classroom, everyone started talking after hearing Irika's explanation. Some people looked at Ryusuke Yagami with eyes full of envy. On the contrary, Ryusuke Yagami himself frowned. Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to arrange it himself? Ryusuke Yagami always feels that this old monkey has nothing to hold back. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 57. At this time, in the Hokage's office. A group of Jonin are gathering here, observing the situation in the classroom through the crystal ball. Is this kid the chief student of this year? Kakashi glanced at Ryusuke Yagami in the crystal ball with one eye. He vaguely remembered meeting this kid at Ichiraku Ramen House about 2 years ago. Does Hokage-sama have any special arrangements for Ryusuke? Yoi? Kurane asked curiously. In the past 2 years, Ryusuke Yagami has often visited Yoi Kurane's house as a guest, and occasionally even slept there. Therefore, the relationship between the two is like that of siblings. Yoi Kurane will care about her. Ryusuke Yagami's arrangement is also normal. This old man has other plans, and you will know when the time comes. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile and even pretended to be a lie. Okay, now that the class placement is over, it's time for you to meet these future students. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand and let them go down. It's really troublesome, I'll take the first step. Asuma muttered, then turned around and left. Others were not as casual as Asuma, and they did not dare to complain about trouble directly in front of the Hokage. But who would let Asuma do it? The son of the third Hokage. It's reasonable for people to be rude to their father. But they are just subordinates. Of course they don't dare to be so casual. In classrooms. After Irika announced the class placement results, he asked everyone to wait in the classroom for their respective leading jounin to come and pick them up. Ryusuke, go with the teacher to see Hokage-sama. Irika said to Ryusuke Yagami. Okay, Irika-sensei. Ryusuke Yagami nodded, calmed down Ino and Hinata beside him, and then followed Irika out of the classroom. I wonder how Hokage-sama will arrange Ryusuke. Hinata watched Yagami Ryusuke's figure disappear from sight, and couldn't help but said worriedly. Don't worry, Ryusuke is so strong. Lord Hokage must have made special arrangements for Ryusuke with this in mind. And after meeting the leading Jonin later, we can go find Ryusuke. Ino on the side patted Hinata and comforted her. But in fact, she was also a little worried and reluctant in her heart. She just didn't show it. On the other side, Ryusuke Yagami was following Irika as he left the ninja school. After that, he went straight to the Hokage building in the center of the village. On the way, Ryusuke Yagami was also thinking about how the third Hokage would arrange for him. Since he was specially called there was a high probability that there would be special arrangements. No, like a normal genin team, directly arrange a leading genin, and then lead 3 genin to perform some simple tasks to adapt to ninja life. Although I am the top student of this class, my talent is not exaggerated and cannot be compared with geniuses like Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi. Therefore, the possibility that the third Hokage intends to accept me as his disciple is basically zero. Since they are not recruiting disciples, they are either planning to arrange a special team for me, or they are planning to recruit me and let me join the Umbu. Ryusuke Yagami actually already knew it in his mind. There are only these 2 possibilities. The former is more likely. After all, the standard for joining Umbu is that you must be at least a Chuunin, right? Join Umbu if you have never heard of Genin. As for the special team, it may be the team where the genin who graduated from the past few years belong to, or simply create a one-person team for me, and then arrange a trustworthy jounin to lead it. The reason for doing this is just one thing. I just like Yagami Ryusuke's talent and plan to take him for my own use. But because the talent shown by Yagami Ryusuke is not worthy of Sarutobi Hiruzen's heavy investment, so the most you can do is arrange someone of your own to brainwash Yagami Ryusuke subtly. Maybe you will also give some small benefits. For example, a ninjutsu scroll. Or draw a pie. Anyway, the benefits are definitely limited. Are you planning to use the will of fire to brainwash me? That would be boring. Ryusuke Yagami sneered in his heart. He thought that if Sarutobi Hiruzen really arranged it like this, he would just let a shadow clone deal with it. As for himself, he would just continue to practice. Just right. Ryusuke Yagami still felt that his body was still weak. He had tried it before, and ordinary kunao and shurikens could no longer scratch his skin. But this was only under normal strength. If Ryusuke Yagami used taijutsu as a jounin, if he uses the power to attack himself, he can still cause some minor skin injuries. Although those wounds healed in the blink of an eye with his recovery ability. But Ryusuke Yagami is still not satisfied. Such a body cannot bear those injuries at all. A more powerful ninjutsu attack. There is still a long way to go before his goal of being able to withstand the attack of a strong shadow-level warrior without any injuries. Although Ryusuke Yagami does not insist on pursuing such a level of physique. People always have to set a goal for themselves. Just like Naruto's goal is to become Hokage. Sasuke's goal is to kill Itachi Uchiha and avenge the innocent souls of the Uchiha clan. Ryosuke Yagami's goal at this stage is cultivate a body that can withstand the attacks of shadow-level strongmen without being injured. See clearly, it is the body. It is not nintaijutsu blessed by chakra or anything. It is just a pure physical defense. If you want to do it, this is difficult even for Ryosuke Yagami. After making random guesses along the way, the two of them soon arrived at the Hokage building. Remember to be polite when you see Hokage-sama later. Iruka turned around and warned. Don't worry, Iruka-sensei, I'm not Naruto. Ryosuke Yagami said with a smile. Right. Iruka nodded. If it were Naruto, he would really have to worry about it. After all, as for Naruto's character, even if it has changed in the past 2 years, it is difficult to change his blustering and blaring attitude. No big or small look. Hokage's office. Iruka knocked on the door. Is it Iruka? Come in. An old man's voice came from inside the door. Iruka opened the door and walked in with Ryosuke Yagami. Hokage-sama, Ryosuke Yagami has brought it. Iruka said respectfully. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting and reviewing documents, also raised his head and looked at Yagami Ryosuke in front of him. Are you Ryosuke Yagami? Good. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and nodded. Hello, Mr. Third Generation. Ryosuke Yagami said. Well, Iruka, you go out first. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned to look at Iruka and ordered. Okay, I'll go down first. Iruka turned and left after hearing this. He closed the door of the Hokage's office. Ryosuke, do you know why I called you here today? Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette, looking inscrutable. Is it because there is exactly one more person graduating in our class this time? Ryosuke Yagami asked. There are reasons for this, but not all. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yagami Ryosuke in front of him. He vaguely saw the shadow of his disciple Orochimaru in the other person. Although Yagami Ryosuke's current talent is far from as good as Orochimaru's. But both of them are equally smart and calm enough in situations. Even if it was the first time they met their own Hokage, Ryosuke Yagami, a genin who is only 12 years old this year, was very calm. This made Yagami Ryosuke very calm. Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little impressed. What a pity. Yagami Ryosuke's talent is still a bit lacking. In this life, he is nothing more than an elite jounin. Otherwise, Sarutobi Hiruzen would still want to train him well. In order to let him assist his grandson Konohamaru in the future. That's right. In Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart, his youngest son Sarutobi Asuma does not have the talent to become Hokage. On the one hand, he is not strong enough and cannot control the situation at all. On the other hand, his character is not smooth enough, he does things too impulsively, and he is easily impulsive. Such a character cannot become the shadow of a village. Of course, I am talking about Konoha here. For other villages, it is another matter. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to train his eldest grandson Konohamaru early. Even giving him the name Konohamaru represents Sarutobi Hiruzen's expectations for him. After all, his grandson is still young. Careful training, you can always cultivate it into a state that satisfies you. The only problem is probably that Sarutobi Hiruzen himself doesn't know whether he can survive until that time. So, he has to make some preparations in advance. At least he had to pave the way for his grandson to prevent his plan from failing. Yagami Ryosuke didn't know what Sarutobi Hiruzen was thinking in his heart. If he knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen actually wanted to train Konohamaru to become the 5th generation Hokage, you can't help but laugh out loud. Konohamaru. Naruto. Not to mention Konohamaru's doesn't sound unlucky at all. Just at his age, it's a big problem. Konohamaru is just a kid this year. How old? Only 8 years old. And when did Sarutobi Hiruzen die? Just this year. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen, let alone seeing Konohamaru as an adult. Even if he wanted to see him graduate from the ninja school, it's impossible. But none of these Sarutobi Hiruzen knew. He planned according to normal circumstances and felt that it would not be a problem for him to live for another 10 years. After 10 years, Konohamaru was 18 years old. He was just an adult and took over his class. And in the past 10 years, Sarutobi Hiruzen will also train a group of trustworthy teammates for Konohamaru. When the time comes to help him become the Hokage, he will not be afraid of being ignored by those ninjas. It's a pity. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought well. But the reality is far crueler than he imagined. He probably would never have thought that he would hiccup this year. There is no way he can complete his so-called inheritance plan. Ryuzuke, what is your dream? Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly asked such a question. Yagami Ryuzuke thought for a while and then said, I want to become stronger and have the ability to protect the one I love. Protect everything I have now and in the future. He didn't hypocritically say that he wanted to protect the village. With Yagami Ryuzuke's current strength, he no longer needs to be so hypocritical in packaging himself as a person who loves the village. He will only protect those around him. Those who love him and he loves. As for the village, to be honest, it's not life anywhere. But the environment in Konoha is indeed the best. Ryusuke Yagami doesn't want to judge the village if it's not necessary. Protect the one you love, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with a knowing smile. He seemed to agree with Yagami Ryusuke's dream. So, how long do you think it will take for you, as a newly graduated genin, to gain that kind of power? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Yagami Ryuzuke shook his head. I am not sure, he said. This time may be 10 years, it may be more than 10 years, Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Ryuzuke, you are very smart. You should know that without enough resources to train a ninja, his growth will be limited. Like your good friend Nara Shikamaru, they are all from the ninja clan. From the moment they were born, their future growth path has been arranged by their parents. Although you are stronger than them now and have graduated as a chief student and become a genin, if you do not have the same resources as them, your strength will increase more slowly in the future, but Shikamaru and the others will becoming stronger and stronger. Until it overtakes you, then you may never be able to overtake again in your life. Are you willing? Sarutobi Hiruzen's words had a hint of confusion, as if he wanted to see the expression of loss and unwillingness on Yagami Ryusuke's face. But it's a pity. He was disappointed. Yagami Ryusuke was not disappointed or unwilling. I will work hard, harder than before, and I believe that the village will not treat any valuable young ninja badly. Ryuzuke Yagami said. Hiruzen Sarutobi stopped smoking, and Ryusuke Yagami's answer made it impossible for him to continue the speech he had prepared. This is not what he thought. You kid, you don't want oil and salt, right? Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 58. Ryuzuke, you are right, the village will not treat any worthy young ninja badly. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled on the surface, but he was cursing in his heart. Why is this kid so weird? Did he really think so, or did he say it deliberately? For a moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little confused. The true thoughts of Kami Ryusuke in his heart. However, since the words have been said here, Sarutobi Hiruzen will no longer brainwash Yagami Ryusuke. Anyway, brainwashing can be done slowly in the future. He still has time. It's very long, and you can slowly do Yagami Ryusuke's ideological work. No matter how bad it is, even if Yagami Ryusuke is really incapable of doing anything, then it's just a little favor, Sarutobi Hiruzen himself, nothing will be lost. Moreover, a kid with the upper limit of elite jounin is not allowed to be manipulated at will. Can he turn against the world? Sarutobi Hiruzen thinks that he has eaten Ryuzuke the night god. And he is also very confident in his ability to deceive. If I can't deceive you today, it doesn't mean I won't be able to deceive you in the future. One day, sooner or later, you will become like me. So, Sarutobi Hiruzen no longer cares about Yagami. Ryusuke looked like he was not following the rules anymore. He smiled and said directly, Ryusuke, I can give you a choice. As long as you can complete the test I gave you, then I will allow you to join Umbu. You probably don't know what Umbu is yet, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen thought that Ryusuke Yagami was just an ordinary civilian kid who didn't understand what an Umbu was. So he explained to Ryusuke Yagami the status of Umbu in the village. Of course, it's a bit exaggerated. For example, those Umbu benefits mentioned. Yes, Umbu does have those benefits, but they are not available to ordinary Umbu members. You must be at least a squad leader, right? And the Umbu squad captain, who is the weakest, is also a formal jounin. Generally, special jounin are not qualified to serve. Above the squad leader, there is a squad leader, who manages 4 squads. Above that, there are also the Umbu minister and deputy minister. Those benefits mentioned by Sarutobi Hiruzen. That is only available in Umbu to a certain extent. Status can only be enjoyed gradually. What about watching the ninjutsu in the sealed book? Every year-end reward. Ordinary Umbu members can't get these things at all. They can only borrow some ordinary ninjutsu from the Umbu library. Even C-level ninjutsu must be exchanged for ninjutsu. However, Umbu does have benefits. At least if Umbu ninjas exchange contributions for ninjutsu, the requirements will be much lower than ordinary ninjas. About 1/3 of the contribution is I can change it. Sarutobi Hiruzen's intention is obviously to let Yagami Ryusuke join the Umbu, and then brainwash him bit by bit and train him to be one of his own. In the future, it will be convenient for them to be a dog for the Sarutobi family. What a pity. Yagami Ryusuke had long known that Hiruzen Sarutobi, the 3rd Hokage, would not survive this year. His future plans would never be realized. Join Umbu. Ryusuke Yagami thought about it and thought there was no problem. Anyway, Hiruzen Sarutobi Jean has been alive for a few months. Now he is pretending to be an Umbu. When Orochimaru's Konoha collapse plan is over and Tsunade, the 5th Hokage, takes office, he will be able to thrive if he shows a little bit of his true strength. As for being a dog for the Sarutobi clan? Haha. It's a beautiful thought. Then keep thinking about it. 3rd generation, sir, I wonder what kind of test it is. Thinking in his mind, Ryusuke Yagami asked with a very interested look on the surface. Haha. If it's you, Ryusuke, I believe you can pass this test. The scheming Sarutobi Hiruzen thought he had seen through everything. He was feeling happy at this moment. This feeling of controlling the fate of others made him obsessed. Otherwise, why would he insist on controlling the position of the Hokage and not give up? Isn't it? I can't bear to have such power. Come out. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly said to the air. The next second, a ninja wearing an Umbu uniform and a white dog mask suddenly appeared in the Hokage's office. Lord Hokage. A cold voice came from behind the mask. Ryusuke Yagami recognized this Umbu at a glance. Isn't it Uzuki Yojeo, whom he hasn't seen for a while? Zi, now I give you a task. This is the task content. Sarutobi Hiruzen threw a mission scroll to Uzuki Yogan. The latter stretched out his hand to catch it. You only need to be there to supervise this mission. How to complete it will be left to Ryusuke Yagami. Your mission is to ensure the safety of Ryusuke Yagami and to rescue him in time when he is in danger, do you understand? Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Understood, Hokage-sama. Uzuki Zen nodded and looked at Ryusuke Yagami, who was staring at her, with a smile flashing in her eyes. The kid back then has grown up? Uzuki Zen thought to herself. Ryusuke, this is my test for you. As long as you pass this test, you will be an official Umbu ninja from now on. Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Yagami Ryusuke again. Go ahead, I hope you can pass the test, and I will have a surprise for you when the time comes. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand and let the two of them go down. As for the surprise in his mouth, Ryusuke Yagami estimated that it was nothing more than a C-level ninjutsu or a B-level ninjutsu. There is a high probability that it is B-level, mainly C-level is a bit hard to use. No matter how you look at it, a mere C-level ninjutsu can't be considered a surprise, right? What's more, Sarutobi Hiruzen should know in his heart that Ryusuke Yagami has already learned several ninjutsu left by his father. There should be no shortage of C-level ninjutsu. So the so-called surprise he can give at this time must be a B-level ninjutsu. What a pity. Yagami Ryusuke is no longer the same person he was 2 years ago. It's just a B-level ninjutsu. He really doesn't like it? Following Ozuki Zien and leaving the Hokage, the two came to the rooftop of a building. At this time, Ozuki Zien also took off the mask on his face, revealing that fair and delicate face. Ryusuke, congratulations on your successful graduation. Mao Zien said with a faint smile. Sister Zien, it turns out you are a ninja from Umbu. Ryusuke Yagami said with a smile, then we will be colleagues from now on. That has to wait until you pass Lord Hokage's test, Mao Zien said, opening the mission scroll in her hand, taking a look at it, and then closed it. Sister Zien, what kind of mission is it? To read exciting novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Ryusuke Yagami asked curiously. He was really curious about what kind of task Hiruzen Sarutobi had arranged for him. In the assassination mission, the target is suspected to be an enemy spy, and his strength is almost around that of a Chuunin, which is not easy for you to deal with. Ozuki Zien was a little worried about Yagami Ryusuke's safety, so she asked him to assassinate an enemy Chuunin. Isn't this a bit too much? Although, each of their Umbu ninjas can complete such a task independently. But Yagami Ryusuke is just a kid who just graduated from the ninja school. How can he compare with the Umbu ninjas who are used to killing and have experienced many tests in blood and fire? What do you think, Hokage-sama? Could it be that he didn't want Ryusuke to pass the test on purpose? Ozuki Zien couldn't help but make plans for Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Hokage, in her mind. No matter how you look at this mission, it's all a deliberate attempt to embarrass Ryusuke Yagami. Assassinate enemy spies? No problem. Ryusuke Yagami seems quite confident. Don't underestimate these enemy spies, every simple role can be sent to perform espionage missions. Ozuki Zien saw that Yagami Ryusuke didn't seem to take this mission seriously, so she also reminded him, not wanting Yagami Ryusuke to underestimate his opponent too much. Don't worry, Sister Zien, I haven't been playing all the time in the past 2 years. Ryusuke. Yagami said with a smile. Just be confident. I'll give you an hour to prepare. We'll meet at the entrance of the village in 1 hour. After Mao Zien finished speaking, she put on her mask again, then used the teleportation technique, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. It's an hour, so let's go meet Hinata and Ino first. Ryusuke Yagami thought to himself. He had nothing to prepare. He just wanted to tell the people around him. 10 minutes later, Ryusuke Yagami found Ino, who had already met the leading Jonin. Then he took Ino with him. We went together to find Hinata and her 8th team, who were undergoing testing. Training ground number 3. Ryusuke Yagami used to often go to training ground 4 to practice, but in fact training ground 3 was not next door to training ground 4, but next to it. A long distance away, at the north and south ends of the village. In training ground number 3, Yagami Ryusuke found Hinata and the others who were still undergoing testing. Let's wait. Ryusuke Yagami said to Ino beside him. Anyway, he still has more than 40 minutes. Don't be in a hurry. By the way, it's also a good time to see the strength of Hinata and the others in Class 8. The guiding jounin of Class 8 is Kurane Yoi is very familiar with Ryosuke Yagami. At this time, Kurane Yoi split a shadow clone and was fighting with 3 students. Her main body was standing on the other side observing. But it was said to be fighting, but it was actually more like a kind of guidance. Kurane Yoi would point out the shortcomings of the students from time to time and give them some suggestions. After about 10 minutes, Kurane Yoi probably felt that it was almost done. So a genjutsu passed over and directly knocked down Hinata and the 3 of them. If she fights seriously, she can actually kill these 3 rookie genin who have never even performed a mission in one face-to-face. But Yoi Kurane is not Kakashi. She will not have strict requirements like Kakashi, I just wanted to test the strength and respective characteristics of my 3 students. After the test, Yoi Kurane found that the strongest among the 3 was Hinata, who looked the weakest. And Inyazuka Kiba and Abarame as for Shino, each has its own characteristics. Overall, she is very satisfied with these 3 students. Ryosuke, what's the matter with Hokage-sama calling you over? After the test, Hinata hurried over and asked Yagami Ryosuke how he was doing. It's nothing, they just invited me to join Umbu. Ryosuke. Yagami said with a smile. Umbu. Are they those ninjas wearing black clothes and masks? The newly arrived Inyazuka Kiba also asked with wide eyes and curiosity. He didn't know the situation of Umbu, but at least he knew that there was an Umbu department in the village, and he heard that those who could join Umbu were all elite ninjas. Ryosuke, Hokage-sama asked you to join Umbu. Yoi Kurane came over and said hello to Ryosuke and Ino before asking. Sister Hong, Lord Hokage did not directly ask me to join Umbu. He gave me a test. Only if I pass the test can I join Umbu. Ryosuke Yagami didn't hide anything, and directly told Hiruzen Sarutobi's arrangements for him. As for whether it was confidential or not. Sorry. Hiruzen Sarutobi didn't say it, so Ryosuke Yagami tacitly agreed that this thing is okay. Said. So, then you must be careful and don't be careless during the mission. Yoi Kurane said seriously. As someone who had just been promoted to an official jounin not long ago, she knew that joining the Umbu was not a simple matter. Since the Hokage gave a test, then this test must test whether Ryosuke Yagami is in ability in all aspects. The difficulty is definitely not something that ordinary newly graduated genin can handle, Lise. Although she also knows that Ryosuke Yagami is very capable. But it is only among his peers. Compared with the veteran ninjas, Ryosuke Yagami still has a lot to learn. Don't worry, Sister Hong, I'll be careful. Ryosuke Yagami said. Then he touched the little head of Hinata who looked worried. Don't worry, don't you know my strength yet? He said softly. Hearing this, Hinata also nodded. She did not speak, but gently held Yagami Ryosuke's hand. After saying goodbye to Hinata and Ino, Yagami Ryosuke went to Konoha again. At the hospital, I found my mother Mitsuki Yagami, who was working. She told her mother that she was going out of the village to perform a mission and might not come back tonight. Be careful. Be careful on the road. Yakama Mitsuki looked at her son, who was almost taller than herself. Although she was worried, she also knew that it was the duty of a ninja to perform tasks. She could not stop her son and tell him not to go. So, Yagami Mitsuki, I can only tell my son to be careful in everything. If there is danger, put his own life first. In terms of missions, it doesn't matter if you give up, and you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 59. Village Entrance. Ryosuke Yagami arrived here when the hour was almost up. On time, let's go. Brush. Uzuki Zen's figure suddenly appeared. After speaking to Yagami Ryosuke, he handed a certificate of leaving the village to the two Konoha door gods. Ryosuke Yagamai. Is he the civilian genius who just graduated this year? I didn't expect that I would be leaving the village on a mission so soon. Gangzidi and Shinayu Izumo looked at the two figures gradually disappearing in front of them and couldn't help but sigh. Today should be the day when these newly graduated genin are divided into classes, right? Unexpectedly, just after the classes were divided, this civilian genius they were assigned a task to leave the village. Did the Hokage intend to cultivate him? The two of them thought to themselves. After leaving the Leaf Village, Ryosuke Yagamai suddenly felt like the sky was high and the birds could fly in the sea and the fish could jump. He couldn't help but smile. He looked at the blue sky, then activated the teleportation technique under his feet, and easily caught up with Ryosuke Zien in front. After half an hour of driving, the two of them had left Konoha village for about 40 kilometers. Two people a person's speed is basically maintained at 80 kilometers per hour. Such long-distance running speed is difficult for ordinary Chuyunin to achieve. But Uzuki Yojeo found that Ryosuke Yagamai didn't even look like he was out of breath. None. It seems even more relaxed than myself. Take a rest for a while, but you have great stamina. Maoyu Zian said. Sister Zian, I have always been exercising, and my physical skills are not bad at all. Ryosuke Yagamai said with a smile. From now on, when you go out on missions, don't call me by my name. Call me by my codename Zi, or by my captain. Maoyu Zian reminded. Okay, Sister Zian. Ryosuke Yagamai said with a smile. Uzuki Zien rolled his eyes at him angrily. This means that the two of them have a good relationship, so it's okay to joke. But if it were someone else like this, Uzuki Zien would probably be angry. However, Yagamai Ryosuke just made a joke, and then changed his name to Uzuki Yojeo as the captain. After all, the identities of UMBU members are secret. Otherwise, why would they wear a mask and call them captain? The whole body is shrouded in a black robe. However, Ryosuke Yagamai looked at Uzuki Yuyen's iconic long purple hair, and then thought of a certain white hair who had escaped from the UMBU. These two guys. Is it true that no one recognizes them? After resting on the spot for 5 minutes, the two set off again. Soon, they arrived at the target location of this mission. A place called Shirakawa Town is located in the south of the country of fire. Baishuan Town is a small town with a small population. But business is very developed. Almost all of the town is engaged in business. There are also some wealthy people in the town who have made a fortune in business. They live in houses with big courtyards. And Ryosuke Yagamai's target this time is a businessman who is ostensibly engaged in selling ninja tools. This guy's name is Akun Ueno. His home is in Baishuan Town, and his store is also opened here. But occasionally I go to Konoha to deliver goods. We have a long-term cooperative relationship with the Tiantian Ninja Tool Shop run by the Tiantian family. Certainly. Tianation's family did not betray the village. They just don't know that this guy is an enemy spy. What's more, Tianation's family business is so big that he is one of the largest ninja dealers in the fire country. There shouldn't be too many ninja dealers working with them. It's impossible to know everything. Yagamai Ryosuke also met Tenten several times because of Naruto. That talent entry little rich woman was transformed from Tiantian. He can provide him with 100,000 taels of money every day. Let Ryosuke Yagamai no longer be short of money. Kyuyun House. Yagamai Ryosuke and Uzuki Yogan are lurking in the dark, observing the mansion. Your target is Kyuyun Ueno, but he also has some paid guards who are hired by his family. Although they are not ninjas, they are ordinary people with some martial arts. Yuuzian introduced the situation of Kyuyun Ueno. Your mission is to assassinate Akun Ueno and ensure that the information he has about the village will not be passed on, So you also need to confirm whether the people around him are spies from the enemy country like him. Ryusuke Yagami nodded, already having an idea in his mind. Captain, I'll go over there. Ryusuke Yagami said. Uzuki Zian nodded, and after telling him be careful, he watched Ryusuke Yagami disappear in an instant. Kaiyun House covers an area of 3,600 square meters. There are 7 servants, 11 people in the nursing home, plus the host Akun Ueno, and one of his wives. A total of 20 people. Ryusuke Yagami used his perception ability to find the specific locations of these 20 people, and then started to act. His method was very simple. Since we are not sure whether the people around Akun Ueno also have spies among them, we might as well kill them all. As long as these people are dead, even if there are spies among them, it will not help. Puff. Puff. 2 guards who were chatting suddenly spurted out large amounts of blood from their necks. The 2 samurai guards stared with wide eyes and tried hard to cover the wounds on their necks with both hands, but the wounds were too big and they can't stop it. There were 2 pops. 2 twitching corpses fell to the ground. Behind him, Ryusuke Yagami appeared like a ghost. He flicked the blood beads on his ninja sword, and then disappeared again. The first murder. Yagami Ryusuke didn't feel any nausea, but seeing the blood spurting out from his neck, he didn't feel at peace either. Go ahead, you have to take the first step. Ryusuke Yagami said to himself. Then he transformed into the god of death and harvested the lives of these people in Kaiyun's house one by one. Soon, 7 servants and 11 samurai guards were all eliminated by Ryusuke Yagami. But the smell of blood also alarmed Kaiyun Ueno and his wife in the room. Has it been exposed? Then don't hide it. Yakami Ryusuke looked at the target rushing out of the room, and then appeared next to him in a flash. Brush. The sword flashed. Yagami Ryusuke looked at the woman who had dodged his sword in surprise. I never thought she was also a ninja. Ryusuke Yagami felt slightly surprised in his heart, but he did not stop the movement of his hand. The second knife was faster. The angle was even more tricky. The woman failed to escape again and was stabbed through the chest by Ryusuke Yagami. The sharp blade pierced the chest directly. Phew. Pulled out the ninja sword, and blood spurted out immediately. The woman staggered and fell to the ground, dying. To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Kimiko. Kaiyun Ueno exclaimed and rushed forward while secretly forming seals. Go to hell. The next second. Thunder escape. Pseudo-darkness. A restrained thunder and lightning turned into a thunder spear and stabbed Ryusuke Yagami in front of him. Uzuki Zian, who was hiding in the dark, also broke into a cold sweat for Ryusuke Yagami. A mere firefly dares to compete with the bright moon. Yagami Ryusuke sneered disdainfully. The next second, he actually grabbed the lightning gun with one hand. With a grasp of his palm, the thunder and lightning was instantly annihilated. The crackling arc of electricity arced around Yagami Ryusuke's body, CJDF, jumping. And Ryusuke Yagami, who was bathed in the thunder, didn't feel much other than the numbness on his body. What? Whether it was Kaiyun Ueno who released this thunder escape, or Uzuki Zian who was hiding in the dark, they were all stunned by this scene. The flesh/body actually directly resisted the ninjutsu. Or was it the thunder that is known for its powerful damage? Escape. What kind of monster-like physique is this? Konoha style. Instant kill. The sword flashed as fast as lightning. It cut through Akun Ueno's body in an instant, and a flash of blood suddenly appeared. Yagami Ryusuke raised the ninja sword in his hand high and appeared 3 or 4 meters away from Akun Ueno. He slowly sheathed the sword. Then he turned around and looked at Akun Ueno, who was standing motionless. Poof! A piece of blood spattered out, followed by Akun Ueno's body diagonally divided into 2 parts from the middle, and fell to the ground. Dust was thrown up on the ground. Brush. Uzuki Zen's figure appeared. She walked over, first looked at the target's body and the woman's body, then walked to Ryusuke Yagamai, looking him up and down. "Captain, is there something wrong with me?" Ryusuke Yagamai asked. "How did you manage to resist thunder escape with your body?" Mao Yuzian couldn't help but ask. "I have a strong constitution," Ryusuke Yagamai said with a smile. Uzuki Zen rolled his eyes at him. "Strong physique. If you really have a strong physique and can resist B-level thunder escape, then those Taijutsu Jounin will not need to avoid the enemy in battle attacked." "Well, maybe it's some kind of blood inheritance limit. I feel like my physique is much stronger than other ninjas." Ryusuke Yagamai smiled and reluctantly a reasonable explanation was given. "Is there a limit to blood inheritance?" "I see." Uzuki Zen nodded, feeling in her heart that this should be some kind of blood inheritance limit. However, no one in the Yagamai family has awakened to this kind of blood inheritance limit before. It may be because the previous ninjas of the Yagamai family all followed the ninjutsu route. Maybe because of it. Exposing his strong physical fitness is nothing to Yagamai Ryusuke. After all, his real strength is much stronger than what he shows. Exposing his true strength a little bit. For Yagamai, as far as Ryusuke is concerned, there are only advantages and no disadvantages. As for whether Danzo, the pot shadow of Danzo, will be eyeing this kind of physical limit of blood inheritance. Haha. Yagamai Ryusuke is not the same person he was 2 years ago. Now, he is no longer afraid of any nonsense. Besides, Yagamai Ryusuke really wants to see if Danzo knows the limit of his special bloodstain. Will he go to find Sarutobi Hiruzen? If he really goes, he will probably have a quarrel with Hiruzen Sarutobi. By then, there might even be a classic dialogue. Ryusuke Yagamai also wants to see this good show up close. As for what happened afterwards, will Danzo secretly send the root ninjas to catch him? Please. Yagamai Ryusuke is eager for Danzo to do this. By then, he can just copy some of the root ninjas' ninjutsu. It can also help Danzo streamline check out the number of team members. If you look around, the information recorded by this guy should be hidden nearby. Uzuki Yogan cut off Akun Ueno's head with a ninja sword, sealed it in a seal scroll, and then said to Ryusuke Yagamai. Ryusuke Yagamai nodded, then turned around and went to the other side. There seemed to be a strong throbbing in my eyes just now. Is it about to evolve? Ryusuke Yagamai thought to himself, and then took out a mirror from the space in his palm, and then opened his Sharingan. In the mirror, the Sharingan that should have been in the state of 3 Megatama. At this time, there were 3 black Megatama in it. It has turned into a pattern of 5 small black sickles. Really? The kaleidoscope has opened. Ryusuke Yagamai secretly rejoiced. Unexpectedly, he just killed a few people and turned on the Mangekyo Sharingan. If the dead souls of Uchiha knew about this, they would probably be so angry that they would die again, right? When did it become so easy to turn on the kaleidoscope? In fact, Ryusuke Yagamai was not just stimulated by killing someone today, so he turned on the kaleidoscope directly. In the past 2 years or so, Yagamai Ryusuke also often stimulates his own Sharingan, trying to open his own kaleidoscope. After more than 2 years of stimulation, although each stimulation is not strong. But over time, Yayakami Ryusuke's pair of 3 Megatama are only one step away from the kaleidoscope. And today, for the first time, he saw blood. It directly made his pair of Sharingan take the last step. Only then was it successfully opened. Kaleidoscope. I don't know what the power of my kaleidoscope is. After turning on the kaleidoscope, Yagamai Ryusuke felt that his eye power increased by about 20 times. No wonder, he had a 10 times eye power bonus before, but he could not activate Susanoo in the 3 Megatama state. To put it bluntly, the pupil power is still not enough. The pupil power of the kaleidoscope is 20 times that of the 3 megatama. And now, Ryosuke Yagamai, who has successfully opened the kaleidoscope, his pupil power is 11 times that of the kaleidoscope. I don't know how far away the eternal kaleidoscope is. How far is your pupil power? Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 60. Is pupil surgery still in the making? It seems we have to wait a few days to find out. Yakami Ryosuke sensed it and found that his 2 eye skills were still being gestated, but it would only take a few days at most for the gestation to be completed. This made Yagamai Ryosuke look forward to it. I don't know what this means. What kind of pupil technique can the so-called eye of soul reflection allow you to obtain? It stands to reason that Yagamai Ryosuke should have a desire for power in his heart, so it is possible to obtain the pupil technique of Amaterasu. Of course, it may not be Amaterasu, but other more lethal pupil techniques. And the other pupil technique. Ryosuke Yagamai suddenly thought of something, and his face became a little weird. It shouldn't be possible, right? He thought to himself. I hope this eye of soul reflection does not really breed eye skills based on a person's inner reflection. Otherwise, Ryosuke Yagamai is really worried that some weird eye skills will be born. After all, in addition to his desire for power, he seems to be only interested in the beautiful girls in the Naruto world. He can't breed a pupil like that, right? If that is the case, it would be too embarrassing. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Ryosuke, it's okay, Nishi has been found. After a while, Uesugi Zien found Yagamai Ryosuke, shook a scroll in his hand and said. Can we go back to the village? Ryosuke Yagamai asked. Pretty much, unless you want to stay here a little longer. Mao Yuzian said. Forget it, come back next time if you have a chance. Ryosuke Yagamai shook his head. He was currently focused on the kaleidoscope technique and had no intention of going shopping or anything like that. Then go back to the village. Mao Yuzian nodded. She is not the kind of woman who likes shopping. What's more, she is still in the process of executing a mission. The information in her hand needs to be sent back to the village as soon as possible, so it is best not to overdo it. They stayed outside. On the way back to the village, Yagamai Ryosuke and Uesugi Yujeo both slowed down. It took almost 2 hours to return to the entrance of the village. By this time, the sky was getting a little dark. Uesugi Yujeo he handed the customs clearance documents to Gangzisha and Kamizuki Izumo at the door, and then took Ryosuke Yagamai to the Hokage building. The Hokage's office. Uesugi Zien knocked on the door. Ahem. Come in. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know what he was doing in the office. He coughed twice before letting them in. He opened the door and walked into the office. Ryosuke Yagamai smelled a strong smell of smoke as soon as he entered. How many cigarettes has this old man smoked here? Ryosuke Yagamai thought to himself. At this time, Uesugi Yugan also handed over the mission certificate. Oh. Is it done so quickly? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yagamai Ryosuke with a smile. It seems Ryosuke, your strength is even more outstanding than I imagined, not bad. Very nice. Ryosuke Yagamai was humble. Then, after looking at the mission report, Hiruzen Sarutobi suddenly opened his eyes wide in surprise and looked at Ryosuke Yagamai. What are the blood inheritance limits for physical types? He looked at Ryosuke Yagamai in surprise and asked Ryosuke, have you awakened a blood successor boundary? Hearing this, Yagamai Ryosuke also said actually, I wasn't sure at first. I just found that my physical fitness grew a little fast when I was exercising. Then as I practiced, I found that my physical fitness was getting better and better. Sarutobi Hiruzen. God, I get better and better as I practice. Is this just a matter of getting better and better? You can physically resist B-level lightning escape ninjutsu. This is no longer praiseworthy, but should be called a monster. With such a physique, a normal attack wouldn't even be able to damage Ryosuke Yagami's skin, right? Unless they are facing ninjas of Jounin level or above, ordinary genin are just a bunch of harmless scum in front of Ryosuke Yagami. Unless he is holding some magic weapon. Like the Kusanagi sword or something like that. Okay. Ryosuke, you are indeed more outstanding than I imagined. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also secretly happy at this time. If he hadn't deliberately recruited Ryosuke Yagami, he wouldn't have discovered the blood inheritance limit in him. If no one had discovered it, Ryosuke Yagami himself might not have known it. What on earth is this? When he thought of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but feel lucky for his wise decision. Look, this is the vision of being a Hokage. Unlike that guy Danzo, I heard that he seemed to still look at not as good as a civilian genius like Ryosuke Yagami. If Danzo knew about the blood inheritance limit of Ryosuke Yagami, would he regret it to death? Thinking of this, Hiruzen Sarutobi felt even more grateful. Fortunately, Danzo didn't look down on Ryosuke Yagami. Otherwise, if he had asked him to ask for someone at the beginning, Hiruzen Sarutobi would have done it for the sake of their past friendship. In addition, Ryosuke Yagami's talent is incredible. Because of his relationship with the elite Jonin, there is a high probability that he will be handed over to Danzo. It's fine now. The person is still with him. Even if Danzo finds out about the situation afterwards and comes to him again to ask for someone else, it's impossible for Hiruzen Sarutobi to do so. I will hand over Yagami Ryosuke. After all, there are completely different things if there is no blood successor limit and there is a blood successor limit. Without the blood successor limit, Yagami Ryosuke's future achievements will be unparalleled and he will be an elite Jounin, and the probability is it's not big yet. It's just possible. But Ryosuke Yagami, who has awakened the blood succession limit, will at least be an elite Jounin in the future. The former is the highest achievement and can only reach elite Jounin, and the latter is the lowest achievement, the worst, and is also an elite Shinobu, even has a very small chance of reaching cage level strength. Such a genius, plus he is a commoner. How could Sarutobi Hiruzen not like him? When Konohamaru takes the position of Hokage in the future, he might consider giving Yagami Ryosuke a seat on the Elders Committee. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought. Before, his arrangement for Ryosuke Yagami was just to serve as a Hokage guard next to Konohamaru. But now, Sarutobi Hiruzen changed his mind. If Ryosuke Yagami can really grow to cage level strength in the future, it is not impossible to give him a seat on the Elders Committee. In Sarutobi Hiruzen's view, this was already his greatest gift to Yagami Ryosuke. After all, unless a civilian ninja has smoke coming out of his ancestral grave, how can he be qualified to enter Konoha's high-level circles? Now Ryosuke Yagami has this opportunity. Isn't it a gift from him? Ryosuke, I now officially appoint you as a member of UMBU. This is your transfer letter. Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately announced the arrangements for Yagami Ryosuke and solemnly handed him a transfer letter that had been prepared long ago. Ryosuke, from now on you will be a part of protecting the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. I will protect the village. Ryosuke Yagami took the transfer letter and said. Hiruzen Sarutobi nodded happily when he heard this, and then began to get entangled in his heart. Because he didn't know that Ryosuke Yagami had awakened the blood successor limit at first, so he initially gave the gift prepared by Yagami Ryosuke was a B-level ninjutsu scroll. But now, for reading novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that this gift was too light. It was not enough. Let Ryosuke Yagami remember his kindness. After all, he is also my grandson's right-hand man in the future. It seems that I can't be too stingy. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought, and then he said, Ryosuke, you go back and have a good rest today, and come back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I will have a gift for you by then, which will be regarded as your joining umbu. Congratulatory gift. Okay, third generation. Ryosuke Yagamai nodded, not being polite to Hiruzen Sarutobi at all. But he was thinking in his heart that Hiruzen Sarutobi didn't give him the gift he had prepared in advance because he knew about his blood. Following the limits, you feel that the gifts you prepared before are a bit hard to get, right? I have to say. Yagamai Ryosuke really guessed it right. Well, you two go down first. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. It could be seen that he was in a really good mood. After leaving the Hokage building, Yagamai Ryosuke thought for a moment that he might not have anything to eat when he goes home. After all, he had said that tonight he won't come back, so his mother will definitely not prepare his dinner. Sister Zien, how about I treat you to dinner? Ryosuke Yagamai turned to Ozuki Zien next to him and said. Have a meal? Mao Yu Zien thought for a while and nodded, okay, then what should we eat? Let's go have a barbecue. We just completed our mission. Eat something good. Ryosuke Yagamai said. Ozuki Yojo also had no objection. Although this mission is a test for Ryosuke Yagamai by Hiruzen Sarutobi, it is also a B-level mission, and there is a reward for the mission. B-level mission, the remuneration is usually between 80,000 to 200,000 taels. But this time the reward for the mission is 150,000 taels. After deducting the 20% taken by the village, which is 30,000 taels, there are still 120,000 taels left. And Mao Yuexi initially planned to give all the 120,000 taels to Ryosuke Yagamai. After all, Ryosuke Yagamai handled the entire task by himself. She was only responsible for supervision. But Ryosuke Yagamai insisted. 55 cents. Yuazaki Zien couldn't resist him and could only accept 60,000 taels of it. In fact, Yagamai Ryosuke was not short of money at all. Little rich woman, this talent entry can give him a daily income of 100,000 taels. This entry was obtained by Ryosuke Yagamai more than 2 years ago. Although he often went in and out of barbecue restaurants, he also bought some ninja tools and the like. But the total money spent did not exceed 1 million taels. Therefore, Ryosuke Yagamai still has more than 70 million taels in savings, and he doesn't even care about the mission reward of a mere 120,000 taels. But Yuazaki Zien is different. Although ninjas make a lot of money, ninjas also spend a lot of money. It has been 10 years since Ozuki Yogan graduated from the ninja school. But the total money saved was only more than 1 million taels, and the rest was basically spent. In contrast, Yagamai Ryosuke is the real rich man. If he hadn't known that Yuazaki Zien would not agree, Yagamai Ryosuke wouldn't have even planned to ask for the 60,000 taels. After finishing the barbecue, it was already past 8 p.m. After coming out of the barbecue restaurant, Ryosuke Yagamai patted his slightly bulging belly and felt very satisfied. In this world, beauty and food cannot be let down. He sighed inwardly. Then he turned to Mao Yu Zien beside him and said, Sister Zien, I have no place to live tonight, otherwise, Sister Zien, can you take me in for a while? Aren't you going home? Mao Yu Zien asked. I said before that I wouldn't go back tonight, so Sister Zien, are you going to take me in? Ryosuke Yagamai looked at Yuazaki Zien with a pitiful expression. Ozuki Zien couldn't help but laugh. Okay, then you can sleep at my house tonight, she said. I knew that, Sister Zien, you have the kindest heart. Yagamai Ryosuke smiled and hugged Yuazaki Zien, just like he did when he was a child. You are all grown up, why are you still hugging your sister? Don't be ashamed either. Ozuki Zien smiled and lightly touched his forehead with her fingers, but did not resist Yagamai Ryosuke's hug. She was probably used to it. After all, Yagamai Ryosuke often hugged her before. It became a habit, so she didn't feel it. There is something wrong. However, 12-year-old Ryosuke Yagamai is about 170 centimeters tall due to long-term exercise. Standing next to Uzuki Yujao, he looks as tall as her. From a distance, passers-by who didn't see Yagamai Ryosuke's childish face clearly thought they were two young lovers going shopping. After all, they looked so intimate. No wonder they misunderstood. And it wasn't just these passers-by who also misunderstood. There were also a few ninjas who had just come out of an izakaya not far away. Isn't that person over there Mayu Zian? Someone recognized Yuyuki Zian. After all, her long purple hair was so rare in the village. It was difficult to recognize her. Moonlight Hate, who had just drank some wine, heard Yuyuki Zian's name. He was half sober from the wine immediately. He looked over there, and the pupils in his eyes shrank instantly. Zian her. Moonlight Hate was shocked and speechless. Several friends next to him looked at him, and then at the two people hugging each other over there. For a moment, their eyes towards Yu Guangfeng were full of sympathy. None of them knew that Moonlight Hate had always liked Yuyuki Zian, and there were even rumors that the two were already together. However, as Moonlight Hate's friends, they still knew some inside stories. In fact, the two of them had a slight affection for each other at most. Moonlight Hate really likes Yuzuki Zian, but it's hard to say what Yuzuki Zian thinks. But now that they saw this scene, they became more and more certain that Moonlight Blast was just a case of unrequited love.